Hey, Tad. Hey, Tulane. This is JD. I just wanted to reach out to you all because I have an important subject that I'd like to talk with you all about, which is I would like to make the case for why I believe that I deserve a raise. And so I didn't want to just, throw the request out there. I wanted to back it up with some solid numbers, talk about, where we've started and how far we've come, and see if we could maybe work at something that would be a good move, not only for me personally, but for the auto group as a whole. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about our growth through our digital strategy and the impacts that we've seen across the auto group since implementing a lot of these changes. So first things first, just an overview of what we'll do. It's a 5-year snapshot looking at the before and afters. I want to demonstrate the return on investment of all of our digital strategy and all the expansion that we've seen. And also, I want to talk about what I think a fair salary would be and how I think that we could get there, making it make sense in your all's budget. So first things first, my role and responsibility within the organization. I wear a lot of hats, as you all know. I'm overseeing the digital advertising and all the strategy for 4 stores and 3 manufacturers. We drive over 500 leads a month, and we have seen this year alone over 1,000 online driven sales. I'm also managing not only the digital advertising, but our CRM and BDC efforts, the SEO, social media, and then all of our data analytics. And then that's on top of any IT issues that spring up that I need to take care of, anytime that they occur. Also, I've worked to expand our co-op programs and also reduce our out-of-pocket spending sort of simultaneously, so we can take a look at, how that's affected operations at the dealerships. Also, I have helped through American Auto College build a technician pipeline that's resulted in over 25% of our employees in back of house being employed through that program. So we've seen a huge increase in the amount of in-house training, and that's resulted in a lot of dollars back in your all's pocket. So we'll talk about that. And then also just generally supporting cross-store operations, growth planning, and the customer experience. So first, I want to talk about some really transformational growth that we've seen over the past 5 years. So just on the most basic level, if we zoom back from our stores, when I started in Blackfoot, we were selling about 60 units a month, and now we're averaging over 125 units a month these days. So that's over 100% increase since I started in the past 5 years. Looking at Rigby, which was more of our established store, when I was getting started, we did start with 95 units on average per month there, but we are up to 145 units a month there, which is about a little over 50% growth. So we've seen some really sizable improvements in the operations at both of our stores. And I think a lot of that can be tied back to our digital advertising, which I'll come to in just a little bit. But I also wanted to talk about our Idaho Falls store, which, as you all know, we opened last year in September, and we immediately made that store profitable, which you and I both know is a huge accomplishment. So I'm very proud of that. At the same time, over the past 5 years, we've seen a huge increase in profitability. And so I think that when we talk about the ways I've affected the front of house and the back of house operations, we can kind of see that reflected in the overall profit. Because while we've driven a lot of sales, it's not just in the sales department; it's in service as well. We have gone from seeing about $125,000 per month on average being our profit when I started to over 600,000 a month now. So that is really sizable increase, about 400% increase over where we were when I started. So again, something I'm really proud of, something that I think that we've all worked really hard to achieve, and it's a great accomplishment. So the digital marketing impact, if you all remember when I started, we did not have any digital marketing efforts whatsoever. There was no social media. We hadn't run any digital ads. It was all billboards, radio, TV, very traditional forms of advertising. As of today, we have over 50 million views and 250,000 followers on TikTok, and are the second most popular automotive TikTok that exists out there. On Facebook, we went from 500 followers to 75,000 followers, which has a really great impact on our reach and our ability to perform organic SEO. And then also or organic social media advertising as well. And then we've gone to over 500 digital leads per month, and our close rate has increased from 2% to 20%. So a tenfold increase in the amount of sales that we're making from our digital advertising efforts. And we have closed over 800 online customer deals this year. We're on track to do over 1,000. So that was not including the month of November, which we're still tallying. Okay, so just a little bit of notes on our financial efficiency since I've started. So our co-op budget, because of the amount of new sales we've made through our digital spend, has increased from about $500,000 a year to over $1 million a year. Usually about 1.2 is what we're doing in our co-op spends between our three manufacturers. At the same time, our out-of-pocket spend has decreased, and I'm very proud of this, from $250,000 a year to about $40,000 a year. So that's like less than $4,000 a month that we're spending out of pocket. Everything else has been pushed into the co-op program, so you're not having that money sort of taken right out of your hand, which is always a great thing. And that's resulted in a higher ROI, but then our expenses are much lower than when I started. So something to think about is that we're saving a lot of money, but we're doing a lot more than we ever were. Also, as you all remember, I started American Auto College, and that's had a huge impact on our operations in the group across the board. Over 25% of our tech staff has been recruited and trained through the AAC program, and that's reduced staffing shortages and resulted in higher throughput through our entire service department, which is always a great thing. As we know, service departments are the profit center of a dealership group like ours, and so tightening all of those operations back there has really resulted in some measurable impacts. So my current compensation right now, I'm making $75,000 a year with no bonus package. I haven't had a raise in 4 years, and I have taken on more responsibility by adding that fourth rooftop in the past year as well. So I like to think that I'm doing about 25% more work, 33% more work than I was doing before. Something to consider. Um, as a result, I'd like to propose a relatively small adjustment proportionally. Whereas I was making 25,000 before, I would like to ask for a $20,000 annual raise. Okay, so that would put my new salary at 95,000. It does reflect director level benchmarks across the board, so something to consider. And also, it is proportionate to the amount of revenue that I'm generating in my position. So, with the amount that we're saving on out of pocket spend with co op, with the revenue that we're making in addition, because the increased amount of online sales, I really think that this is something that makes sense. So, in closing, I just want to thank you all for your consideration. I know this is not your favorite discussion to have, but I do think it's an important one as I stay on with the company and continue to grow over hopefully the next several years.